Hey, what is up guys? Evan Aldo here in the Tesla recording this one. I'm trying to record it outside. The wind noise was just too bad. Probably gonna buy an external microphone or something that's like good for that. Don't think I'll be able to edit that out. But anyway, what I want to talk to you about today is the ability to stay calm under pressure. Now, this is a very important thing. Now, this is what I think really separates those who have high IQ levels that fail to really get successful. Like, there's a lot of people that have high IQ levels that never really become that successful. They never really, become more successful than just an employee making a good salary. They're never able to get that freedom to, let's say, retire early, to do what they want every day of their life, to wake up when they want, to do what they want, to live wherever they want. Those type of things. Now, I think it's mainly the ability to work under pressure. So it's accountability. When you have a business, when you have, a higher risk thing, not necessarily high risk, but something where you have more of an opportunity to make more money, to make, a lot of money, because when you're an employee, usually the business is taking, 70, 80, even 90% of the revenue you're generating for them, and they're keeping it. You're not getting that. You're getting somebody else rich essentially. And you should only really be an employee if you absolutely have to be. Like, while you're an employee, you should always be thinking, working for something where you can be independent. That would be the goal of freedom, in my opinion. Everyone wants different things, but I think if you're watching, if you watch my videos, you probably, or if you're in crypto, you probably want freedom. That's kind of why crypto was invented, for this main reason. So going on to the pressure thing, a lot of businessmen have said this, being able to work well under pressure. When you have accountability, when you own a business, when you put your name on something, when you have an LLC, yada, 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 when things go wrong, you're going to be held accountable. You're taking risk. Your reputation could be ruined. You're going to lose a lot if you finance something, if you're using leverage, whether that's leverage in a trade, whether that's leverage to start a business, whether, anything. But when things go well, you're going to take the accountability. So it's going to work in both ways. When things go well, you're going to get all that wealth. You're going to look really, really good, and you're going to benefit from that. That's kind of the difference there. Now, how do you perform well under pressure? It's one of the hardest things. And I think that, when you're really nervous about something, when you have a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, all of that kind of wears down your body, wears down your mind, all those things. You never really perform well as you would have when you're really, really nervous, when you're really, really stressed. It causes heart attacks, other things like asleep, the problems it causes physically with your body and mentally, and your mind are endless. Now, that's why somebody with a lower IQ level could beat somebody with a higher IQ level, in a lot of ways. College, in a sense, obviously teaches you mainly to be an employee, so the people who are into that will just do whatever the basic narrative of society is. Work your 9-to-5 job for 40 years, then retire and have some fun. But that's not what we're going for. We're going for something else here. So to remain calm, the main thing, and I think this is kind of goes back to the law of attraction, which I've talked about in other vlogs. Check them out if you haven't. Either my face is in the thumbnail if you want to see some of my older videos. And when you're overwhelmed, one of the things you first can ask yourself, what would this look like if it were easy? This I learned from Tim Ferriss, and it's a simple law of attraction thing. Like, it's not that complicated. It's just you're thinking about the things you want rather than the things you don't want. You're thinking about the outcome that you want here, the way, and you're putting it together in a way where you can achieve it, instead of just fearing the negative outcome, fearing the thing. So the negative thing. The more you think about the negative outcome, the more that you think about failure, the more likely it can probably happen. Because the human mind, the subconscious mind, adapts to the things that we're thinking about, for the most part. So, what can you do? Basically, the first thing to do is do like a meditative practice or an active thinking practice. People, laugh about meditation and make fun of meditation sometimes. it's really not more than just an active thinking. It's a brainstorming, like a 15-minute brainstorm where you're away from your phone, you're away from your computer. Excuse me. I do it out by the pool a lot. I do it on a nature walk, somewhere where you're just not going to be distracted by your phone ringing, by this, that, you know what I mean? So think about the things you want and feel. That's what they say. Feeling is a street secret. Feeling like you already have it. So think about the positive outcome you really want and try to think about what it would feel like if you had it. Now, I used to have trouble with this a lot because like I would think about, wanting, let's say, a round number, like $1 million. And I would think like, I have no idea how it would feel to have $1 million because I've never experienced it before. How am I gonna know what it's like if I've never experienced it before? But the thing is, like, when you're feeling like that, the more you get into this active thinking, the more you get into this meditation, the more you're gonna realize what it feels like. The more you're gonna realize what it feels like. And you shouldn't stop until you start to feel that gratitude for it. Assume, law of assumption, that's another one. Assuming that it will happen, like you're assuming that, I don't know, you're gonna be able to drink water later, that you're gonna be able to eat later, just very, very common things that you've probably had your entire life, and it's an unlimited quantity of it. That's the thing too, like money, freedom, all this stuff, there's unlimited quantities of it. And we have the technology to provide it to everyone, so that's an important thing to think about first. It's a positive sum game. That's a good thing. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to really realize this, but it's a positive sum game that we all can be rich, we all can be successful. So once you have that forward, that's going to give you some confidence. It's possible. It's possible to do what you want. It's possible to succeed at what you want, and just feel that way. And then when you're thinking about it, usually you get ideas. You get better ideas on how you want to approach it, and you get rid of those negative thoughts of the negative outcome, different ideas on how to approach it, how to, the steps you're going to take to get the thing you want. And then you're going to execute. You're going to feel good. Do it until you start feeling excited that it's going to happen. When you feel excited that something's going to happen, usually the actual event usually actually does happen, and usually you actually feel really, really good at the end of it when it finally does happen. So that's that. That's that basic concept. Going back a little bit, Napoleon Hill's book, he has two really good books. There's Think and Grow Rich, and there's Outwitting the Devil. I think Outwitting the Devil is a little bit better than Think and Grow Rich. And the reason why, I think, is because Outwitting the Devil talks about kind of the statistic, kind of the 98% of people in this book, it's very interesting how it's written, are controlled by the devil, and only 2% of people really have true freedom or really have the success they want. And the book is kind of about like what the temptations, that prevents them from really going after what they want. The fear of failure is a big one, fear of poverty, all of these things, all the negative things. But there's no way to really get around those things. There's no way to really have accountability and get rich without taking those types of risks. It's not really possible. And the standard way, the 9 to 5, yada, 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 it's never a 9 to 5. It's usually always way more hours. That's risking your time. You're risking a lot of your time for that. So that's really taking the biggest risk at the end of the day there. So going back to all this, people, when they're under pressure, they get nervous. When you're nervous, you don't act as well. Some people, to fight this, they may smoke a cigarette, not the healthiest thing, but to each their own. The other thing is mainly positive thoughts, thinking about that. Sometimes, a substance can make you feel more positive thoughts, relax you, and you'll start thinking about the things you want rather than the things you don't want. I think through a meditative state, through a meditative type practice, an active thinking practice of kind of visualizing and thinking about the things you want, I think it's going to help you a lot more. Now, you need to surround yourself with the people that have the things you want. Let's say you wanted to get really good at football. I don't know. Football. And you're probably going to want to surround yourself with people who are always talking about football, always focused on it. If you want to make a lot of money, the people that make a lot or have made a lot of money, they're usually talking about money. Usually the people who have something are talking about it. Usually the best NFL players are talking about football all the time. The people who make money, they're talking about money. There's a lot of rich entrepreneurs that have more money than they really could ever spend, in my view. And they're still going on social media, they're still talking about making money, investing, so on and so forth. Why wouldn't they just retire? Well, the main reason, it's because, that's what they're interested. They like to do it, and they want to make even more money. In terms of so the main thing with internet gurus, gurus you see on any social media, they're selling their course, so on and so forth. What I will say about them is I think, and I mean, people would consider me one of them, the majority of them, the vast majority of them are successful at the thing they're trying to teach. There's some people that are bad people out there that are scam artists. That's always, there are some terrible people out there. But the main argument people will say well, why would they sell their course if they already have all this money from day trading, already have all this money? Why are they make all their money off their mentorship? The reason why they sell the course is the same reason why when a person makes $1 million, they want to make $2 million, or they want to make more. 2 million is not enough, and 5 million, and 10 million, and a billion. You know what I mean? They want to make even more money. That's the reason why. They may be, they may make a good living as a day trader. They may make, I don't know, a good living, maybe 6-figure, maybe less, enough to make ends meet. And they want more. They want even more. They want to be really rich. They want to have more income sources, multiple income sources. That's the other thing that's important in the law of attraction. They want to have as much money as it's a craving, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have even more if you're already rich. It's just it gets to the point where it's kind of, you should take some time to focus on the things, the benefits of being rich, having the freedom. As long as it's not, an obsession, not really controlling or negatively affecting your life, I don't see kind of an issue with it. And it's kind of the way, if they mentor, that's kind of the capitalistic view, the positive sum game view, in a way where, you mentor others, you help others achieve what you've achieved. Maybe you charge, a small fee or something like that because you want to get something out of it too for your time. Also, the main argument, this is an argument I heard a lot from internet gurus, it's you need to pay for the course because you need to invest, and if you invest in it, you're going to be more interested in it, and you're going to apply it more. I think it's true to an extent. It's true to an extent. I think for someone who's really already very wealthy, that's not going to affect it really. For somebody who's doesn't make much and pays a couple $100 for a course or a mentorship, they're probably going to take it more seriously. So in that sense, it's probably right. So there's different ways to look at it. That's kind of some thoughts I have. There's always the naysayers. There's always people like that. I mean, you're not gonna please everybody no matter what you do. People are too different. We don't live in a really unified world where people are going to be completely unified. When one man's treasure a lot of times, is another man's trash. It's different. People like different things. They have different views. And, the main thing, going back to kind of the law of attraction, Dr. Joe Dispenza, the audiobook, The Secret, that's, I forget who's that by, but that's, the audiobook kind of about the documentary, The Secret, which is all about law of attraction, Bob Proctor's and that. And, it's for free. You can listen to that audiobook on YouTube. That's the latest one I listen to. And it's kind of don't think. That's the main thing. Don't think about the things you don't want. Think about the things you want. Easier said than done a lot of times. Easier said than done. But if you're thinking, the more you think about the things you don't want. I remember, I knew there was a lot of people in my life that were young, when I was younger, especially, where they would just talk about the things they didn't want to happen all day. They'd always talk about the worst case scenario all day. And our brain is kind of designed to do that a lot of times. Even I do that. I think we all do that sometimes, and we gotta you just gotta say no, do it this way. Think about that when that comes up. Just change it and start thinking about the thing you want. And some people, people have mixed views. Some people always say to yourself I am rich, I am happy, all of this. Other people just say think about the things that would you would have if you were rich, and how that feels. How would it feel if you were driving a Tesla? How would it feel if you were driving a Ferrari? How would it feel if you were driving this car? How would it feel if you were living in a $50 million mansion? I don't know, whatever you want. It's kind of individualistic. But yeah, when you think about this and when you have gratitude, when you finally start to feel good at the end of your, you know, your meditation session, your active thinking session of all this visualization, when you really start to feel gratitude for it and feel excited that it's going to happen, then it will happen. And kind of just know that it's going to happen. Just say to your, and that's another thing too, because people could have negative energy a lot of times, so you shouldn't really tell people what you're trying to get a lot of times, especially if it's something really ambitious, because people are going to be negative about it. Oh, it's not how they're going to say, no, it's not how it works, yada yada yada. You want to kind of keep quiet, keep it to yourself. Sometimes it will slip out because, you know, you want to talk about stuff, you know, but for the most part, try to keep it to yourself. And, you know, it's kind of negative. Like if you do mess up at it, then that's another thing to worry about. That's another anxiety, because then that, if you mess up, then that person's going to say, oh, look, you didn't get what you wanted, yada yada. You didn't get what you wanted. So that's the other thing to think about. All right, guys, I hope that's all I really have to say. Staying calm, to wrap it up. I mean, staying calm under pressure, that your nervousness and your anxiety and your stress is going to negatively alter you. It's going to make you not perform as well. It's going to hurt your body and all these things. And when you're calm and when you're collected, it's a lot easier to perform well. You know, that's another reason probably why the rich stay rich, the poor stay poor, because the rich, they know if they mess up, it's not the end of the world, because they have a lot of money, you know, a lot of money saved. But that doesn't mean you can't have the same mindset when you don't have that much money. If you use these practices and you really visualize and you really think about the things you want, you could think about the same way. You could have the same mindset that someone has when they're already really rich. Convince yourself that it's going to be okay if you mess up, and it is going to be okay. You know, it is going to be okay. I've messed up a lot of times. It's been all right. You know, there's even times I doubt myself. There's even times, you know, I doubt, like with even trading, with all the success I've had, with all the right calls I've had, with all the perfect things, you know, all the money I've made doing it. There's times I still still think about like things the naysayers say about it. It's the things that people, the naysayers saying that it's impossible and, you know, it's a waste of time, you're gonna lose everything. I still think about that stuff sometimes, because once you hear it, you can't unhear it sometimes. And, you know, there's sometimes it goes the wrong way, but you just got to keep thinking about the things you want and keep thinking about the goals you want to achieve. All right, guys, I think that sums it up. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Please leave a thumbs up. I know a lot of you guys like these videos a real lot, and I want to make more. Sometimes it's hard to think of ideas to talk about, but I hope you like this one. And yeah, please subscribe. It means a lot, guys. We're getting up to almost 10,000 now. That's the next big goal. All right, guys, we're going. Bye.